Dustin, or Dusty Buns, or Dustin Henderson, or as I like to call him, the heartbeat in a world that actually eats kids. Now, Dustin plays a very specific role. He's very different than anyone else in the crew, and what I like to look at him is like this trickster kind of engineer. He's not a leader, he's not psychic, he's not the muscle, he is the connector for all these things. And in every group like this, like a mythic, like D&D group, you need one person who keeps the fire lit. Like, while everyone else is busy swinging swords or crying in the bathroom, there's Dustin. He's holding it all down. He's Hermes with a walkie-talkie, man. This is the master of the radio tower. He's the character who moves information. He's moral, and he's also always triggering possibilities. And this isn't by accident. Now, first of all, Dustin is the kid who refuses to break. Like, he's got a lot stacked against him, and, just coming into it, he was kind of the extra kid, like a tag on. He was overweight, he was socially awkward, physically weaker, visibly different, and usually that character doesn't get morphed into something really strong. But Dustin flips the script on that. He isn't just courage or intelligence, he's emotional resilience. He doesn't get hard by the crazy stuff that happens to him. He doesn't withdraw. He leans into it. When Will disappears, he becomes the emotional glue that kept everybody together. When Mike kind of gets obsessive like he does, Dustin is the one who grounds him. When Lucas is like, I don't believe in anything, it's Dustin who mediates between the two sides, especially between Mike and Lucas. And he never retreats into bitterness. Like, no matter what happened, which would have been an easy character arc for him, he chooses to be this curious, bright-minded person over being afraid. And this is something that would carry through him throughout the entire series. Now, one of his pivotal moments was his little pet Dart, the monster. And it just seemed like kind of a dumb subplot, and I just kind of questioned it all the way through. But now I'm kind of seeing what he was doing was looking at this ugly creature and saying, what if it's not a monster? Right? Now, it's a dangerous level of empathy, particularly in this world, but it's also kind of revolutionary because everyone reacts to things at least with their trauma logic. Not, they're kill us before it kills, kill it before it kills us, which I totally agree with. Dustin reacts with a scientific logic, kind of mixed with a little bit of compassion. So when it all goes south with Dart, it really hurts him, not because he was naive, but because the world punished him for trying to see things in a different framework. So that moment kind of fractured him. It was the first time his optimism had really failed him in a major way like that. And then after that, he kind of changed a little bit. All right, he doesn't stop being kind, but he's a little wiser. He's a little more cautious. And then he's got this great relationship with Steve Harrington, like the brotherhood that kind of shouldn't exist, like outside of this context. And this is one of the most interesting relationships, like in the story. Steve, for all intents and purposes, should have been a villain forever. I did not see him switching to become this much an integral part of the team. But the whole reason he does it is because he gets kind of humanized by Dustin. And it's an interesting thing. Dustin always talks to people as if they're better than they think they are. Like he's already kind of saying, I know that you have this in you, right? Just stop it. So they provide a couple of interesting balances for themselves, because Steve also kind of socially tutors Dustin. He gives him confidence. So Dustin gives him purposes. Dustin gives him a purpose. Steve gives Dustin confidence, and together they kind of pair up to make a real strong bond. And it's a tight bond that's actually built on a lot of like real dishonesty between these two guys. Now, intelligence isn't really Dustin's superpower. It's actually the ability to translate. Like, calling him the smart one is a bit lazy, because this is what he does. He explains science to non-scientists. He explains feelings to the more emotionally constipated parts of the crew, right? He bridges kids, teens, adults better than anyone else. He's the only kid who can walk into adult spaces without shrinking or posturing. And it's not necessarily IQ that does that. It's more of kind of a social awareness, cognition. So he's able to really understand all parts of all these moving components. Now, as we get into season 4, right, we see that his comedic timing and everything goes down. Like, he's a little bit darker, and this is all because of Eddie's death. Now, Eddie's death, I think he really saw a kindred spirit in Eddie. Not a pet monster, but like someone he really had a bond with, especially as that kind of outsider role. And to see Eddie go through it and not get his redemption, not really. He didn't even get to live, right? He made friends, and that was really, I think, where Dustin really saw that loss. It's like, okay, you should be part of this pack here. And Eddie dies and gets killed before he can get to that. Start really enjoying it. Which is sad, but that's kind of the route. So it makes him more, there's a sadness he carries because he's part of what Eddie wanted to be part of, right? Even though they're going through it, he still loves being part of a team, having this crew, this sense around him. Now, within the crew, he's got his own dynamics that he deals with. He kind of contrasts everyone in the group, and that's good. It's all in supportive ways. Mike is kind of this leader through belief, right? He's ready to go. He saw at 11 and immediately was right down with, he was already believing her. Lucas leads through more of like a realism. So he's going to doubt things. He's going to try to stay more grounded. Whereas Will is all the emotion. And sometimes that gets to be even too deep for him. Where 11 bears the burden of power. But Dustin, he's the human connection. He's what keeps all this alive. Without him, the group would probably rot because he doesn't have its core like emotional glue. So he's the character who reminds everyone why saving the world actually matters. And he's proven his worth time and time again. So this is a character who's had a lot of growth, a lot of resilience. Like we see him darkening a little bit, which is a path we're not surprised, but he still holds on to the core of who Dustin is. So if you have some more questions or thoughts about Dustin, always drop them in the comment section. But come back to the channel as I'm profiling all the characters on the show.